See here. I've got to get these maps painted and onto press by morning. Come join me at Twitch. Lols. Hey everybody, we're doing some painting tonight. We'll be painting this map behind me. We've got it all set up. We got Xanatar, we got markers, we got Tales from the Yawning Portal. Got this dope ass studio. Pop on over to Twitch TV /Bashanye_Jackson. I'll go ahead and write a link on here. I don't even know if I can. I can comment it. How about that? Twitch.tv /Bashanye Jackson. That's where you're going to need to go to catch the rest of the show. This is just a friendly reminder that people do stuff that isn't on Instagram. So come and join me. Again, we got everything set up. We're going to make it look good. Twitch.tv Bashanye Jackson. That's that first comment. See you guys there. Alright, and for those of you who've been able to already join, let's take a look through the studio. Oh yeah. It's glorious. All the walls, all artwork done by me. Got a little incense going, making it feel right. You know what I'm talking about. If you're wanting to chant along with some of the music, I wish I had thrown up a particular graphic. Let's see if I can't add one. Let's see. Almost there. Alright, there we go. Got my little overlay. Well, you can join in. I'm going to adjust down over to my beefy ass. I'm Bashanye Jackson. I'm going to draw and paint and do other stuff. The reason I'm doing this is because I'm trying to get enough materials prepared to launch Northwest Arkansas's first and only live stream D&D game that's called Ruins of Adventure, and I'll plug that throughout, but I'm kind of running like a baby group through it right now as well, so I've already got a lot of my map laid out, but it just takes time to color, and a lot of people don't use crayons anymore, so when I do a lot of these things, I do them all by hand, and I feel like a lot of people feel like they need to either buy these attributes or they have to meet some sort of standard when they fucking don't. People love Nintendo, and anyone can do it. So let's hop into the jam. This is what we're working with tonight. So this is the Yawning Portal, and this is the dope-ass book that it's from. You can see there on the cover, we have Durnan. And though it describes the Yawning Portal in pretty solid detail, it doesn't really provide any sort of picture before you just pop into the first chapter of the game and you're in a dungeon with the Sunless Citadel. P.S. That's the dude who built it. That's old Hallister. So what I essentially had to do was get online and go over to a point where I could find maybe some old attributes of people who have taken some guesswork, and they used to publish maps about this shit. And what I found through that was that, yeah, they were cool, Yeah, they were high res, but they don't really print well unless you've got like $10 in your group's printing budget to print off a map every time. So it's a lot more affordable to go to Hobby Lobby or Michael's or U-Trade, Dick Blick, name an art store, and get one of these pads. And this is 18 by 24 newsprint, and you can draw whatever the fuck you want on it. Ink, everything else. You can see here in the background, I'm using the OG Crayola box. And I've also got some markers over here. Got an iPad set up in case I need something, and as always, Xanatar's watching over me, so I feel pretty protected. But once I have just a Sharpie drawing right here for the map, I then just kind of hop in and start coloring it. And this crayon box, I would say has probably too many crayons. I'm not used to having this many. But I mean, you really only need the regular $2 pack. Not that many crayons. So I'm gonna point it down. I've got this Lisa's Nutrageous ready for me when I need a break, but these usually don't take me too long. And if you want to follow along with what I'm listening to my playlist Fuh Shit Da on Spotify. And you can go to my Spotify on that bottom left description, pop open your window, search for me, the user Bashanye Jackson. All these playlists are public and they're filled with some good stuff, and it's got a fair amount of MIDI on there as well as just some electro. So let's get started. We probably need to fill out the borders and edges, so I'm going to kind of move my phones here. Throw that upside down, and we're going to go back and do another live broadcast on Instagram and Facebook to kind of draw in some of these stragglers. But I want to cover the outside and work my way in, because I mean, we know ultimately what's going to be on the outside, but it also helped me try and gauge where my light reading should be. And I think a lot of people don't draw their own maps because it can be really intimidating when you have to get to these large swaths of color. And I'm going to go for just kind of a neutral brown. Hey, what do you know? First pick. Look at that. That's OG brown. Nah, you can't read it. Fuck it. Anyway, so as opposed to going like this, I'm going to flip it on the side, and I'm going to start down in this bottom left corner. This is a watering trough, this is a stone wall, but all this around here, presumably, well, it wouldn't really be dirt. We're in the Castle Ward, so it would actually be gray. Gray crayon. Here we go. Oh, this is silver. Whoops. That would have been interesting. Timberwolf? What crayon's called Timberwolf now? Good lord. Okay, gray. What's funny about Crayolas, they don't spell gray like the color because this is a Crayola color, so it's custom. But if we're going to presume that these are all going to be cobbles, you can kind of flip it on the side here, and you can already get that shape and distinction on that kind of like axial grid that they flow on just by holding it on the side here. And as you continue to go on this side, we'll be able to push these further, but right now we're just trying to get coverage because saturation is going to be the thing that implies value. We're not really going to touch black or white at all. We're just going to make things more saturated. So when you're laying down base coats like this, go light. Do yourself a favor. Go light. Trying to get this coverage right now, and I'll kind of show you what I mean about holding it on the side and kind of getting this natural texture. Kind of have the lines going. We don't really have anything going this way, so while I've still got it light, I'm going to be able to build saturation by drawing horizontal lines on top of it. And the pigment of the wax coming off of these is already forming these kind of cobble lines where we have some accidental value changes going on, and it kind of just looks like I've spilled some dirt so far, but it's gonna get to looking quite a bit better here directly. Okay, so we're kind of setting up these horizontal lines. Alright, now, because of the way the city is situated and where other people had come in, I'd said they'd come in around noon, so that means in terms of where the sun would be, our back left shoulder would be 120 degrees, and that would be towards the east. So for sunrise, if we're going to afternoon, it would be here. This is a pretty tall building, about 3-4 stories. So that means the sun would be coming over the top and coming down in the shadows up here. So we wouldn't be able to see pretty much all of this. And it would be really saturated and dark, so it's actually kind of funny that I started out here, but you want to work everything up in layers, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so we're going to kind of start with what would be the more well-worn area, and for that we're going to throw in just a little bit of brown. I'm not going to try and go crazy with it, but, you know, fact of the matter is, there's dirt under streets. You know, more well-traveled areas are going to get more worn down. And, you know, specifically where people's feet might land, I'm going to throw in a couple more areas of saturation to just kind of draw, you know, that this is just a little bit different from everywhere else, but you want to build it out. You're using your shoulder when you're drawing this. You're not using your wrist. This is a muscle memory exercise that it'll come down to. So now that we've kind of got this little build-up going, we need to start cementing the actual value of it. Like I said, the sun's coming down on top of the building and going down, so we just kind of need to fake a shadow. And for that, we're just going to kind of start in this corner, and we're going to go as hard as we can, and we're going to come out. Yeah, just like that. And we're going to try and get the tonality to be the hardest along the edges of the building so that it will kind of draw a natural contrast, and you'll see that you don't have a lot of fill work to do towards the end. You're actually just kind of moving right along. Alright, so yeah, we're bringing it out. This whole area would be real saturated, and yeah, I'm just going to kind of fill that right there. This is a watering trough, as I mentioned earlier, and it would have its own kind of impact on the ground as well, and it would come out a good little bit, so you're going to kind of just fudge these lines. Nobody's looking at you to have perfect perspective. People can't even register a lot of times that there is a perfect perspective. It's always 90% bullshit. What people do care about is that they can at least tell these value points. Alright, then coming around here, again making it real saturated. You can start to see the build. When we apply the black, we're going to mostly come in with the black for detail. And especially with what I was talking about earlier, this well-worn area, we're also going to use our Sharpie to come in and kind of do a fine tune as well. I'm going to take a break to just look at the chat section. Well, lo and behold, there aren't too many people here with us, but such is life. I'm going to keep on rolling. For those of you who are here with me, if you want to chime in on any of this, feel free and welcome. Whew. You can tell what hand I punch with. Good lord. Scar Tissue City. Sports are brutal, kids. So we're kind of drawing it out. If we're going to say the sun's coming down, I'm just going to kind of draw this gauge line to let me know how far I need to push the rest of these shadows to make everything congruent, because this one is going to be coming out the furthest. You can kind of draw and correlate these lines, and from that you can kind of see where you need to extend the value to. And for me, what I'm seeing is that this area is going to be pretty heavily contoured, and you want to make all these lines the same. So you're just kind of measuring out. Perfect. Okay. So let's continue to push. That lets us know the threshold of what we need to push to with these saturated colors before we start softening. And softening means just kind of easing back and letting it naturally flow as a color into what surrounds it. That kind of light portion, the tapering effect, if you will. It tapers off into the other colors. So you can kind of see we got this hard line right here. We're going to want to taper that a little bit as well. If we push that really hard, just going to go over it real lightly, kind of help it transition. Alright, so we've got to do a bunch of really saturated tones over here. I'm rotating it. When I started out, I had a sharp point. You can see now it's only getting sharper. I'm forming edges on each side of this, keeping it as like a projectile point. That way I only have to worry about unwrapping the crown bit after bit while keeping it sharp up on top if I need to do fine detail. Again, since we're not really, we're not using the tip of the crayon, we're using the side, you'll be able to perfect it without ever having to use the crayon sharpener. This pack came with one. It fell down earlier. I'll grab it with my foot. But you know, the alternative isn't awesome. You gotta use this asshole. You know, if I had to choose whether or not I had to pull this out every 5 seconds or just continue rotating the crayon, I'm gonna rotate the crayon. Alright, so I'm peeling it. I want to get a little more surface coverage. And you know, crayons come with this little peeling you can do. Okay, so I've got a little more of a surface area because I'm going to need to saturate this whole area. I'm just going to work through. Everything's real nice and jiggly. I love that jiggly. Just moving right along here. Okay. So this edge especially is going to be a little bit tough, but you know, you can kind of let that fudge. So we're going to come back over here. Now, my old drawing instructor would say that, you know, Shania, you need to not contort your arm and make the angle weirder. You need to just move the canvas. When you're working with large canvases like that, you're not going to really find that to be much of a possibility, unfortunately. So it's always okay to perfect a couple of different techniques. For me, this technique mostly includes, I'm going to move it up here. For me, this technique includes switching to my left hand. And you're going to want to switch to your left hand or your non-dominant hand. If you're left-handed, switch to your right. Because these kind of exercises are really the last few exercises you're going to get to help you perfect a lot of that lack of coordination when it comes to drawing. It also does one other thing really important to your mind. It forces your brain to send signals that, you know, would be rather unrecognizable or unfamiliar to your non-dominant hand, and you can start building that skill set. You know, I've had to do it with multiple different things in my life, and each time it's always unpleasant at first, but man, when you really start to hit stride with it, you don't have a lot of fear about using your hands, or, you know, you get injured, God forbid. It happens to me more than anything else, it would seem. And, you know, I'm going to kind of do a hard line, but I'm going right back in here with that saturation. Because we used black to do the outline, we don't have to do a lot of saturation on a lot of these parts that don't have an extending shadow that go past, because it already draws a healthy amount of contrast. So doing things with marker or doing things with ink kind of help you, again, push that 90% bullshit foundation to where you save yourself a lot of work. Alright, so I'm coming over the top here. I'm just now starting to get, and I'm going to taper off. Push it up to that line of just hard saturation, and I'm going to taper off. Push it up one more time on this water trough, and then taper off here, yeah, just like that. You know, I've kind of got this going on over here. The reason this is going to be a hard line is because it is a physical feature of the building, and we're actually going to add a little bit of black in there to even help accent that more. And so we're going to have to do that over here as well. Coming off of that shoulder, this line would be really rigid. If you've ever been outside of a building, you know what I'm talking about. We've also got these watering troughs, so we're going to have to go hypersaturated on them as well, just like we did on this one over here. So I'm doing the same thing over here. I'm just drawing that line off. Kind of guesstimating at this point. With this last one, we kind of measured it out and did straight lines, but on these ones, I'm just kind of letting this stuff organically flow. So there's less concentration and thought. All right, so now that we've got our shadows set up, we just need to kind of continue finishing the actual wash. And so again, I'm going to do those perpendicular lines to build up the sense that there is like an actual axial grid here of cobblestones without having to accentuate a lot of minute detail with pins or other colors. We had talked a little bit earlier about doing some light brown saturations where there would be a lot of walking, and you know, since these are watering troughs, let's throw a little bit of brown into these. I mean, horses weigh more than humans, and so especially up around here, we're going to want to add that brown staining, and then probably carry that on a little bit, because I mean, let's face it, Horses are fucking messy. I didn't see, a horse really until I was a lot older. I was a teenager when I first started getting involved with horses and being around them, and I was pretty scared of them at the times because I didn't realize how big they were. But one of the things that really surprised me about what I would consider to be, like these well-groomed horses that were either on display or used for military or whatever, and they just all have these trimmed tails that expose their butthole. They got really jiggly buttholes and they poop everywhere. So the whole horse thing for me was just a very strange experience. That being said, they would have dirty troughs. So we kind of got this base coat, and like I was saying, I wanted to make sure that this first area kind of had a little more of an accent. Just back down. A little more of an accent. So what we're actually going to do kind of coming up in here is we're going to make it look like maybe some of the cobbles are indented and a little bit out of place. And we're going to do that by adding a couple of these horizontal lines that we're then going to come in, or vertical lines that we're going to come in and add some horizontal ones and kind of make it look, like there's some of this fracturing. I'm not really doing anything much. But it does make a really nice illusion, and damn it if that ain't half the battle. I think I've been, kind of harping on that a little bit, but I mean, it's honestly it's fucking true. You don't have to draw that well for a good drawing to come out. A lot of it are just these tricks, and granted, if you never go to an art school or anything like that, you don't get exposed to a lot of these tricks, and that can be really detrimental to a lot of people's art education. And I'm going to add in a small line and start building a little bit of just a faked convex here, like the stone is just slightly warped from people specifically stepping on these couple. And I'm also going to pretend like there's a mantelpiece right here. Looks like Sharpie's got a little too much wax on him. Maybe add just a few more, and then we'll let Mr. Sharpie rest, and we'll do the rest with a crayon a little bit later. This is just for us. It's going to help establish. So let's put the brown back for now. I'll remember where he's at, and let's get out that black. Yeah, boom. Alright, so I'm going to kind of build that mantelpiece right here like I was talking about, as if there's kind of like an actual difference in step. We are going to have to darken in this area quite a bit because of the shadow. So kind of pull that off, but leave a little bit to set up that convex like I was talking about. Where the steps would be lower in elevation. And so right after you kind of have that highlight, give it another real dark push. Let people know that this is kind of sunken ground. This is where they're supposed to keep walking. Push it really hard to that line because this whole area is going to be really dark. Come off that. We're just going to use this black and we're going to push that contrast. Again, over here, we're just going to push it. Push it out, push it out, push it out. Okay. Let's get back into this convex thing. Bring it in. Make another hard black line coming off of this right here. Especially this area would just be really dark because there is just not a whole lot going on, truth be told. And going back into the whole 90% believable story, you want certain areas to kind of break from the norm when it comes to the lighting and effect. I'm pulling out the brown one more time. I'd like for the watering trough to already have a base coat in case some black influences it. So you can kind of see where there's some spillover, and that's good, you want that, but you want to have your base coats down. So I am going to kind of just give everything a really healthy saturated brown. And then on this interior, because water is seldom bright blue, I'm pulling out Bluebell. Yeah, I'm not using that. Oof. cauliflower. Where the fuck is a good... I'll use this. Blue-green normal. Boy howdy. Oh, Crayola. What is this? Midnight blue. Let's try midnight blue, whatever the fuck that is. You're going to start real saturated, but then you're going to kind of pull off where you think the water maybe might hit, just to give kind of this effort of reflection and just kind of lightly go in through there and kind of allow these waves to notate. But then again, when you get back towards that area of concentration, and as well as along the side, you know, it is still dark, but you know, water reflects. It's kind of what it does. So we can kind of synthesize as if there was water there. So I'm going back to my black now. Popping in, come off the edge like this. I'm going to draw this hard black, and I'm pushing down pretty hard. I'm building up the layers gradually so that I can kind of ease off. And that's what you're always going to want to do. And this is actually going to have a little bit of a hue, because you know, firelight and all that. So I'm going to use a little bit of orange. I'm going to bring it out here just a little bit though. We want it to influence the black. We don't want it to supersede it, because it comes down to it. It's still very dark in this alley, despite the low glow. This would be an alleyway. There would be two buildings, so you know, you bring it all out, and you can kind of make that congruent as you go. And it'll definitely stand apart towards the interior, so that people kind of have this appreciation for the environment that you are in a building. You know, rather than just these lines and borders and looking at it like a game of chess or checkers or an RTS or whatever. You can have these elements of really strong detail. I'm going to need to bring this off a little bit harder. So like I was talking about at the end of this water trough, so bring that black out. Bring that black out and then let it taper. Bring it out and then let it taper. Do it all the way around, make it nice and even. So it looks like it is actually standing, and then we're going to connect these two. And we're just going to try and match the value, and I'm doing kind of a swing motion here. That's mostly utilizing my elbow, and then drawing out further and further. Get softer and softer. Got to connect these values. It looks like this back portion needs to be a good bit darker, so you got to crosshatch. Go a different direction than we did before. Help draw this wax into areas that it's not covering so that you can get something a little more even. Yeah, just like that. Okay. So I'm going to have to crosshatch over here as well, because I want this to be darker on the whole. And then when I draw it out, just like we did earlier, push, 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 and then ease off. Ease off and let it taper. Gotta do it over here one more time. So it would be the darkest kind of in this convex, especially down below, and you want to draw that up. Get real dark and then draw it up. You see what we're kind of doing there? Making these little bits of lines. Draw it up. Draw it up. Draw it up. Draw it up. And I'm getting lighter outside of the middle. That's what we gotta show. There. A little hard, kind of bring it off, and taper, and taper, and taper. Alright, so now we kind of have one of these walkways. I'm going to come back in here with just kind of that maneuver I was doing earlier. I'm going to help bridge this distance. Okay. So boom, already you can start to see that these pathways are coming out, this water stands out. You can see the lighting in this window just a little bit under, and this is kind of how it starts, and you start to go, oh wow, you know, it's coming along. Alright, so I have a feeling black is going to get used a lot. So let's take a moment to break off a little bit of that wrapping and kind of get back after this, because especially around this part it would get real deep and dark. This window right here, and one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a really light blue, honestly, this blue-green would work. When you have these windows, make sure to give some sort of barrier to let people know if they're looking into it. You don't have to do an actual fill, but just some sort of, to do some accent. In this case, this would be a light gathering window and not a light emitting window. It might have some kind of soft glow, but in terms of what I've got written here, this is supposed to be a stained glass window. Let me move you up and stay with. There you go. It's supposed to be a stained glass window. So it's going to be letting a lot of light in, and it's going to filter and influence this area in here rather than this area out here. But there would still be a low emission, so I'm going to do a real light one. I don't like that. Not a whole lot. I'm going to come in here, draw that on again. So I'm switching to my left hand. There we go. Just like I've been doing with my right hand, use your shoulder and your elbow. Don't use your hand to cradle this motion. And build it up, and build it up, and build it up, and build it up. Yeah, bring it across like this right here. Try and match that gradation that you've been doing. And create these really slick areas of movement. You can kind of see that, and like I said earlier, this would be a hard line. This is a building, and so you can kind of help draw these kind of harsh contrasts by accentuating that there's a deeper value that comes off. Alright, so we're through with this portion. We're going to go over here, and just like I kind of caught myself earlier, I'm going to want to put the base coat down for these before I get to saturating with that black, so that people can actually tell that there's something different about these. Spotify music playing right now is just all spot on, and would really recommend you guys go follow that playlist and listen along. Unfortunately, Spotify and Twitch don't have a good enough agreement to allow me to play music anymore. I keep getting flagged, even though a lot of my videos are for charity. I guess these record companies really don't give a fuck what you use their stuff for. They just don't want you using it. I feel like I'm, always and always unifying behind Fred Durst's message in the whole Napster debate, because man, that is just so annoying, especially when you're trying to give praise to somebody and you can't effectively do that because you don't just have thousands of dollars sitting around in a deal, and a lot of people don't like giving their shit out. Alright, so we've kind of hit this standstill again in terms of getting our base coat set up, so now let's start to push this contrast again. Oh, before we do, these would be a little light emitting as well, so kind of go ahead and throw that orange in just a touch and draw it out. Okay, so now I'm going back in with my black, and I'm going to first focus on this corner because boy howdy, it would almost be pitch black right there in that corner before it tapered out. I'm going to taper. Coming in between this again, super saturated. Sorry about jostling the camera there. Super saturated, pulling it off. Even saturated on these areas, but it'll still show through the bottom. Just like we had over there, this area would be super saturated again. And it would pull off. Super saturated over here. Super saturated, and keep going, and pull off. Beautiful. Right, let's get the rest of this building. Got another hard line over here. Just right like that. A hard connect. Okay. Got that hard line. Continuing over here, and I'm going to go with it, and I'm going to go with it, and I'm going to release, and I'm going to release. Go all the way across. Again, use your shoulder and your elbow, not your hand. This is a muscle memory. I'm going to let that line taper off as well. So it would support these kind of shadows, but allow them to kind of dissipate all at the same keel. Alright. So boom, you have the front of this building really starting to form. Kind of secure these edges a little bit. This is below it. It's another piece of paper, but you can see the pool. I'll give another look at what we've done so far. We got the entrance, we got the alleyway. It goes up over and around to the side. So let's go back down into this area next to the watering trough. Whoops. And let's kind of get some of that detail that we were adding over here, because man, horse hooves are pretty significant in terms of that indent. Again, just like we did over here, this area is going to have a little bit of a convex, so make this area a little bit more saturated and kind of imply that maybe right here and right here it gets a lot of foot traffic, and then drop to something less saturated. But overall, make this area more saturated than the outside. Saturated means a greater consistency of this color, and then once it comes up over here, add in some of these lines. Let's make this a little bit darker. It is cobblestone after all. So we're going to have cobbles missing, cobbles loose, and I mean, they're not reflective. They've been pretty worn down by steps. Okay, so now we're going to come in with that black crayon again. We're going to start right here in this middle. We're going to draw it out. Start here in that middle, draw it out. Take it the other way as well. We'd have another middle somewhere in here though. Draw it out. Same over here. Horses are big creatures. Help it just lead in a little bit right there. Gotta make it look like something big goes over there. And these shadows would carry just a little bit further because of that. And then we can add in some of these accents like we did over here with the Sharpie, the black. So maybe take it down to that sharpened point that we keep. Add in a couple of these cobbles. Let people wonder, what went here. Maybe throw in a little bit of a horseshoe. Get these hard lined edges. Maybe there's a breakdown. Maybe you've got a space in these cobbles where something's broken. Just anything. Let your mind get creative so that you can kind of help represent what you're drawing to the people. You've got to think of these stories as they kind of come up. No one's really going to help you do that level of development, but people will still ask, and your players ultimately want to be enthralled and they want to be brought in, and it can be really difficult to kind of achieve some of that stuff if you're constantly getting thrown these curveballs that you don't know how to explain, and a lot of that comes from just a lack of development. But the good thing about this process is you kind of don't have a choice. You've got to, it's already there, and the job is present, and it can be just a little touch and go. Just trying to add some lines, trying to keep this happening. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, I like that. Isn't that beautiful? So now we have this interior part, and just like I said, it would maybe be a little bit of a higher ground because it doesn't get seen as much. Maybe it's in more of a pristine condition. Draw a little bit off to it. It's in these moments where you can kind of spitball and think around, and because this is a castle board, maybe let's pretend they got some trees. So I'm going to kind of draw just your regular kind of... Mr. Sharpie can't run on the wax, that's okay. A black crayon, and I'm just going to kind of go. I'm going to make this interlaying area to kind of give the thought that maybe there's just like some of these, potted tall coniferous plants. And maybe they're not even tall, but they're definitely there. I'm pulling out my regular old green. The bottoms would be the most saturated, so go hard when you're doing this first layer of foliage. You know what I'm saying? Go hard. When it comes to the second layer, you don't need to go as hard. Ease up on it a little bit. Create this natural tonality through the value and the saturation. Rather than constantly thinking, do I need to mix colors? Do I need to add white? Do I need to add black? Make it a mute, make it a shade? No. All about that saturation. Just ease up on it a little bit. Let some of those natural colors of the environment offset against it. And then maybe down on the ground, instead of this dark green like we have in the trees, let's pull out a lighter green. One thing that we've been kind of doing here is noting that there's a difference. So maybe let's make this a hard edge. Why are we going to make this a hard edge? Because maybe it's a garden plot. Let's put browns on the side. Maybe they've just mulched. Maybe they just mulched and this garden's real nice and healthy, and this is a good prideful thing they have out in front. It kind of gives people that welcome. Maybe these trees are exotic to the region. Help yourself build those elements. It's not hard to add. Took me a couple of seconds, and then look at this. We have ourselves a little garden. Look at that. Builds a better welcome than no garden, that's for sure. And maybe this isn't an isolated incident. We have this negative space over here. Is this just where someone keeps on walking? No. Let's make it something too. Maybe it's a different kind of garden. This is the yawning portal, so only certain people are drawn to it. I don't forget to pretend like the brickwork. Ooh, yeah, that's another good idea. Let's go ahead and pull out a brick red. Actually, they wouldn't really do that. I like where I was going with it, but it's just a little too much. So let's instead just use our lines. Let's make it look like maybe it's a different kind of stone. And by that, I'm just adding contour lines. Maybe this is a curved stone. Something the same color as the cobbles, but just offset. Just that little bit to make that difference. There you go. You can do that same over here. Got these contour stones. And this station is really adamant on Street Fighter music tonight, and I love it. So rather than drawing the actual carrots in the ground, we can just draw the carrots. I can go like this. Adding this little bit of orange. Pull out this green. Oh, let's give it the top. Carrots have tops. We're going to go with dark green here. Whoop. Gonna have multiple sprouts going here. Very nice. And then add some of these light green little ends. We got some carrots, and horses like carrots. And then you can just repeat the pattern that you just made for that and kind of let people figure it out on their own. What's over there? Whoa, there's some carrots. I'll feed that to my horse. That sounds like a capital idea. Yeah. So what does that mean the rest of the ground is? Well, it's wavy dirt. By wavy, I mean let there be this separation in between the lines. It doesn't all have to be, this hard, deep brown. It's a garden, for fuck's sake. You will want to make these edges a dark brown, though. A saturated brown, I should say, not so much a dark. And maybe I've got little dark mounds, little saturated mounds going on the edge of this. Yeah, just like that. Beautiful. So you're not seeing the garden? There you go. Got these little carrots. Now we're going to bring in just a little bit of that black, especially here in the corner. Just to kind of accent the change in value. Boom. So now we don't have that negative space. We have a much more welcoming environment. People are going to ask questions like that shit all the time. And then, boom. We got a nice little raise to the property here. And I would even say, maybe they don't have a fence line, but maybe they have a green line. Maybe there's just some trees right here. Let's hint at those with some green. Run along the edge of this paper and kind of give this kind of green outline and frame to the whole thing. Because let's pretend that people in these fantasy environments give a lot more of a fuck about theirs than the majority of people do about ours. It's all escapism, isn't it? Okay, so boom, we have this outside set up. I think it looks pretty damn cool. Take me a drink. Whew. All right, so I think we're kind of at a stopping point. checking on the screen to make sure I've got it all even. Ooh, camera's getting turned. Oh, a little too high. Oh. Looks better, doesn't it? I wish you could get some of these dope-ass maps in the background, but unfortunately, I'm too tall and my head is too big. I guess I could always just scoot closer. Alright, so let's kind of go ahead and give that Instagram live shout out and kind of see what people are up to. It looks like a lot of people are having fun at the fashion night tonight. It's NWA fashion show, the winter edition tonight, and it looked pretty dope. Oh no, that video sucked. I didn't realize that music had played over it. Let's start it again. Oh man, I'm on Twitch and on Instagram at the same time. Holy shit, we're double live. Alright, you both look at me. We're painting tonight, and we're painting tonight. And here's what we're painting. We've already got quite a bit going on here. Everything from a carrot garden and some water troughs to the actual entrance, and we're not painting just anything, but we're painting Tales from the Yawning Portal. More specifically, the actual physical Yawning Portal. So, if you're interested in joining me, I'm putting it in the comments now, but you can catch the rest of the program. I'm going for another hour, but you can get me at twitch.tv /Bashanye Jackson. So go ahead and follow along if you want to see the remainder of this. And as you can tell by the dope ass studio, it's not my first time, and it's just a lot of fun. Plus I'd like to talk with you if you wanted to. Anyway, see you guys on Twitch. Wasn't that fun? Let's put out a tweet, shall we? Let's get a couple of things set up. Let's get Tales from the Yawning Portal over here. Let's zoom back and make it look real nice and sultry. Oh yeah, give me that camera. Oh, you can go live on Twitter too? Fuck yeah. Twitter, you're so versatile. Way to go, Twitter. What's happening? Painting on Twitch for dungeons. Oh, it's not gonna. Doesn't let you tag. Some bullshit. Tales from the Yawning Portal. Let's go. www. Boy, howdy, tweeting is hard. Twitch.tv /Bashanye Jackson. Alright guys, we've kind of already been working on our Tales from the Yawning Portal. Here's the actual book. This is Darnan, and we're drawing his tavern, the actual Yawning Portal. I've already got it Sharpied out, and we're just now starting to put the features on at the very front. And we're going to keep going around, and I'm giving a lot of drawing lessons, but we're just using crayons and markers. It's that damn simple. So come join, Twitter. Come join me on Twitch. We're already having a good time, and we'd like you to be here with me too. Come along. Alright, so we're going to stop that one on. View the stats. What the fuck ever. Now that we're ended, I'll go comment on it. And I'll comment at Dungeon. Oh, not Lena Dunham. Sorry, Lena Dunham. At Dungeons and Dragons. At my fucking Matt Mercer. At who else appreciates a lot of the fucking cool things that I would do. DM Satine would appreciate it. Richard would be down, and Greg would be down. Elementary school. Yeah. Rainbow. Reply. Well, let's hope they like it. Let's hope people come and jump on the bandwagon, because I think we're doing some pretty cool shit here. What the fuck is this? This is cringe as fuck. Geek Peace Dude. Who's Outpaced? You gotta love it when people are super positive. Oh. Let's check it out here. I'll pull over the old keyboard. I'll answer you live, Outpaced. Let's find out who you are. Outpaced. Oh, 2 Ds. Found him. Outpaced plays a lot of Forza. Seems like he's just kind of into that. Can do a lot of Forza. Doesn't have any videos, but I guess likes to critique. Whatever, man. Get back into making videos. Get back into making some clips. That's peace. That's too bad. And we've got Vendrasi in the house. So thanks to him. Thanks for joining, bro. Vin, do you hear me? Thanks. Okay. So, it's enough of that break. If you scroll down to the bottom of my channel page, you'll kind of see the Spotify songs that I'm playing. If you want to play something specific, let me know. Otherwise, I am going to stick to what I've already been playing, which is my kind of like electro style playlist that is Fushida. I got in trouble one time for cursing in front of kids. It's about how that story ends. So, shall we hop back into it? Uh-oh, I took my mouse away from myself and I went to go adjust everything that wasn't there anymore. There we go. Okay. Back to the action. Alright, so one thing that we probably should do at this point is finish up this exterior, because it's going to take the least amount of time. We're very fortunate that we don't have to do as much shading as we were previously having to do, but in terms of keeping the style congruent, I don't know why my phone's on here. In terms of keeping the style congruent, if we're going to have a garden over here, we should probably have an adjoining garden over here. So I'll take that into account. I don't think I'm going to end up using any more style pens and markers, so I'm going to put them away. Let this move so that my elbow can kind of get this room. We're going to need to start graying this out. Again, I'm just going real light. Everything is about saturation when we're doing this approach, and I know I've said that a bunch, but it's still important to realize what I'm actually doing to get these build-ups and get this level of value, and it's not really anything much. We're going to soften this up by bringing off a little gray. help that gradient look a little more natural and a little less resistant, because we have these big pockets of highlights where we wouldn't have a highlight until we got to about out here. So again, I'm running down on my gray, and I already knew I'd be running down on my gray, so I'm just going to peel it. Streaming Inception. I don't think I ever want to see that movie again. I caught it on just like TV on accident not too long ago, and I was like, wow, this movie is a lot less thrilling on any kind of multiple time around, and so I think I'm going to do myself a favor and just not see it again, because man, my memory of it is just being so amazed and blown away. Same with Interstellar, that first time you're so emotionally captivated by the whole thing that it's kind of scary, Not so much anymore. Now I just see her and I'm like, why are they making Ellen Page pretend she's straight? Like, that's all it really comes down to. I hate that the kind of semantics is still aberrant in Hollywood. It feels like it should be something that's standardized at this point. Alright, in terms of just letting people fluctuate to the natural stuff. And that kind of brings me back to why I don't like Doctor Strange. Benedict Cumberbatch, I love you as an actor, man. I think you are talented. I think you got a lot of stuff going right for you. I can't stand your American accent. Oh no! Party foul. I spilled the crayon box. Just gonna put these back in. Loose leaf style. Boop. Boop. Kablam. Kablam. We're going to need to keep these out. I hypothesized these kind of window colors. We won't need that blue color anymore. I don't think I got it from that. Yeah, I think I got it from like back here. Boom. Okay. So we kind of cleaned it up a little bit. But anyway, the reason I did that is because I'm actually going to have to turn the paper. I cannot physically manipulate the space at the level that I'm needing to, so I'm just going to flip it right the fuck around. It's crazy how detailed this side of the map suddenly looks in pure contrast, and we're going to build the whole thing around like that. And it's going to come together really quickly, and that's what I really enjoy. If I've got to do a pickup session to this, I'm fine with that. I really don't mind, and it's going to happen anyway, because, like I said, this was all in preparation for Ruins of Adventure. And what's going on. The kind of baby group that I've agreed to kind of run along, we're just loosely calling them Coffee Bros, and they got to experience just the wireframe of it, and I felt kind of bad because this is supposed to be a really awe-inspiring place filled with all these curios, and they were just interacting with segments and points and lines, and no real flavor at the level that I've always become accustomed with providing to my players, and that's always been a source of pride in terms of the craftsmanship that I bring to what is most definitely the job of DMing. It's all about giving people enough evidence to where they feel like they don't have to question their environment or question their reality. They can instead just kind of roll on without ever really having to look over their shoulder until their character would. And it can be really difficult if your world is so lightly fleshed that you're not really getting anywhere, It can suck. It can suck really badly. So again, I'm going to draw this contrast off. Okay, so now that we've kind of got everything set up, we kind of come back to the whole, aren't there other buildings? Isn't there other stuff around it? And yes, there are. So I'm going to adjust it over here, because this is going to be the first time. If that's where this building ends and technically another building begins over here, you would see something to the tune of like that coming across. And this whole kind of area over here would be just as saturated as it was over on this side. So coming off of this edge of the paper, go ahead and get this a dark saturated black, you know. Boom, 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 boom. We're gonna run that down the line. Just like that. And then you're gonna get it real deep and dark and you're gonna bring it across. Do this in segments. Help yourself measure out. Again, use your shoulder and your elbow. Your hand is just purely there to hold the crayon. Using your shoulder and your elbow, you're going to be able to control the pressure a lot more because your hand isn't having to worry about maintaining some sort of stroke and motion, and you can let your other muscles kind of factor in for that. So I'm going to turn the crayon, make sure to keep that point sharp. And I'm going to come in with that second layer. Again, we're pushing this contrast. Yeah, bring it across. This area would be kind of the lightest, coming back. Bring it across like that. Connect them. Bring it, bring it, bring it, bring it, bring it, bring it. Come back here, connect them. Bring it, 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 bring it. Back on, connect it, and bring forward, bring forward, bring forward, bring forward. Bring it, bring it, bring it, bring it, bring it. We're doing good. Just gonna bring it a couple more times. Now, just like that. Beautiful. Okay. So now we've got to connect it up with this. You know, bring it forward just a little bit, let it dissipate, let it taper out. Okay. As far as back here would go, we would get this kind of taper. My paper's being a little unruly, so I'm just kind of holding this corner down. You can't see any of it. Kind of just holding this corner down and bringing it forward. Draw these lines, help build this pressure. Rotate. Yeah, just like that. Bring that gradient around to this side. Very nice. Okay, so now we gotta back off kind of this edge. We're bringing it across. Gotta bring it up. We don't know what's on the other side of this wall, but what we do know is that judging from the sun and how it would be hitting, if there was anything behind this, it would almost be pitch black. So we're gonna have to do a lot of black. And for this, it's probably gonna be best to cross hatch. So kind of start going one way, and because we are pretending we have cobbles, we're gonna want to do perpendicular lines. So I'm gonna come across. Give these hard outlines on the back. Yeah. These hard outlines, letting you know that this is where I'm going to have to establish, a lack of saturation building up to it, or it's not going to look reflective enough to kind of promote that detail without having to explain. When you're doing map making, the whole point of doing it is to allow someone to appropriately express their passive perception by actually gauging what the fuck is in front of them, and it can be a real load off in terms of time, in terms of concentration and effort, where you're just kind of promoting people to actually utilize their character's eyes in this fantasy world. And boy, there's nothing really more satisfying that I found than that. And being like, okay, yeah, people aren't having to ask me so much shit on their turn. Instead, they're utilizing. I'm going to move this up because it keeps dragging off just a little bit. Let your shoulder make these wide, expressive lines. We're going to help build up these layers. Yes, 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 yes. Just like that. There you go. It's got to get real fine in there, and then you can bring it back out, bring it back out, bring it back out. Okay, so like I was saying, we want to run this perpendicular. So again, I'm going to switch to my left hand, and I'm going to start down here, and I'm going to bring it off. We've got to get this area to be a pretty saturated black. So go ahead and maintain a pretty solid amount of pressure. Let this stuff get darker and darker. Yeah. Start to see the wax from the pigment start chance to actually shape it. And it starts to look more and more, quote unquote, realistic. The more layers you start to put down, and you start going, wow, this really didn't take a lot of skill. This just kind of took time, and that's the feeling you always want to have when you're map making, because God, highly detailed maps for the characters really aren't paying a lot of attention. Can really kind of be counterintuitive to the process, because it can kind of make you a little depressed when people I don't want to say the word respect like there's some sort of implication that you should always be nice to the DM. There certainly are elements to DMing where you have to rely on your players to keep you accountable and progressing the art and the craft just like you expect them to progress it. And if you're not meeting that requirement, you're in it for the wrong reasons. Then you should probably reevaluate what you're doing and why you're doing it. But for the most part, this is pretty tried and true. And this is coming from someone who has a degree in it. So listen to me. Whoop. You're a good phone. Seems like we've progressed to some Daft Punk, which I'm certainly not going to argue with. Again, I'm right-handed. So doing this stuff with my left hand isn't exactly comfortable. But it's the same process if you're using your shoulder. So you're, again, not relying on your ability to discern detail with the drawing. You're just building layers. I'm still using the flat part of the crayon, because I don't want there to be that big of a pull. Just building it up, 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 building it up. Yes. Alright, so now I'm going to come across perpendicular again. You've got to use these layers to draw that. I'm going to come back the other direction with it now. Oh yeah. I'm going to help make these lines just a little more saturated. Coming back through, keeping the paper down with my offhand, just like you had a maul stick. Make these, every time you're passing, it's getting a little bit darker and a little bit darker. Let your shoulder widen it out. Widen out that stroke. Keep pressing. Flip it so you keep it sharp. Keep pressing, keep pressing, keep pressing. Get the paper up, and then we gotta get those fine acute strokes again. Back, forth, back, forth, back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. Just like that. Alright. So now we have a fully framed drawing. Look at this level of contrast. All the way up to the top, all the way down to the bottom. You can see where the shadows of the building are. Now the only thing that I'm currently seeing that's a little out of whack is that the shadows coming off of this back would be really cross here. If I'm studying this shadow line right here, this one's got to match. So we've got to make this area a lot darker. Kind of going in there. Oh, my hand's blowing in. Oh, camera's way down. There you go. Just keeping the paper soft, I'm going across. Gotta make this darker, gotta make this darker. Run down to the paper again. So let's go ahead and peel it. Alright, yeah. Gotta peel. Very nice. Come across that area. Alright. So now we kind of got that alleyway to look a little bit more like a fucking alleyway, which I'm happy with. Let's darken up this toast just a little bit too. Okay. But yeah, anyway, as I was saying, we got this trim going all around the paper. It's looking real nice. So I'm going to flip this over on my phone. Moving the canvas, if you will. I'm going to bring it down about right here. And I'm going to kind of focus on this part because we've got to bring the shadow out of the other building. So I'm going to flip crayon over, and I'm going to draw that hard line just like I did with this part of the building. Draw this hard line out. Let it rip. Now bring it in. So we definitely got to get darker than this. Hold down the paper again. Let it rip, 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 let it rip. Get that edge. Darkening these edges. Bring it out just a little bit more. Taper, taper, taper. So now we go to this side. Coming in, we're going to want this wax to grab in spots that maybe our previous brush strokes weren't able to hit. And taper, 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 taper. Help draw that hard line. Boom. So you can tell that there's another building there. If we flip around to focusing on what I had said, kind of the congruity of having a garden there, we just need to follow the example we did on the other side. So let's line out these stones, maybe, coming across. They turn, they go in, make another line out to here, have them turn and go back in. We were using these parabola shapes to accent our stonework. You can see that they're all not really gray enough, so we want them to be gray on the bottom and maybe a little bit lighter on the top. Reversed for these ones on the other side of the sunlight. It's going to be a little dark inside, just a little bit. Alright, bring it forward. So now we're going to add that dirt, so we're coming in with a brown. Yeah, let's come in with that brown. We just got that. Like I said, just make these lumps. Let the lack of value naturally expressed where you aren't having to do as much work. I think in here you get away with just kind of coloring this brown real hard to kind of notate. Just note. Golly. That's how you know you're from the South when you start saying stuff with Tate at the end of it. So now you have a garden. I'm going to fold it in a little bit. You have a garden on both sides. Wow, yeah. There you go. You got a garden on both sides. Okay, so we've set the perimeter for the whole goddamn thing. That now means we got to focus on the interior. I think the first one that we're going to want to focus on is just inside. And when you are talking about interior floorboards, just like we did with the lighting going throughout, we need to determine where the light would be. And I think having the light here and here, maybe just from a candle, is going to be the best. So we're going to need a yellow. Doesn't matter which. I'm going to use yellow. And I'm going to go in with my Sharpie first. One thing I had forgotten to do with a lot of this stuff is to put down all the Sharpie layers first. So I'm going to put a little Sharpie here. And I'm going to go, a little stick up, a little flame, a little circle, make it look like a cylinder on a larger cylinder. Kablam. Looks like I got a lot of wax on the Sharpie here, so again, I'm going to do a little wick, a little tree point, a little circle, 2 lines, another circle, and then a larger circle, and then boom, there you go, you have it. Kind of 2 little edifices that you're going to need. And for these, you're going to want to get the black taken care of in terms of setting up the saturation. So I'm going to come in here with the candle holder, and I'm going to make sure that it's nice and dark. So it would have that hard contrast coming off of it. As for everything else, go ahead and apply this layer of yellow. Let that kind of go out for a solid bit. I think the rule is 10 feet. So then we're going to do the same over here. We're going to bring it out. Bring it out. Let it express. Let it express. Start pulling up, start pulling up, start pulling up. Boom. Right where we should start having to pull up, it's not going to retain that yellow, and it's going to keep saturated, but it's going to go a little bit more orange. So with it on its side, just kind of bring it out. Just like that. Oh, that light. to look a little bit more natural. So now that you kind of see really closely that we have the values set up, at this point now we just got to do the floorboards. So like we did on the outside, we're going to want to encase the outline of the room in the most saturated point of brown. Still using brown here. I think he has hardwood floors. And then we're just going to kind of do it in kind of these saturated rectangles to just imply you'll kind of ease up, go across, just like that. And kind of finish him over here. He's got nice floorboards. And where there's an end. So boom, you have it set up to where it looks like you're kind of heading in. Now, the reason I've left these kind of white spaces is because this is where you're going to have to come in with your black. You're going to want to just put a line and draw it out to either side, and a line and draw it out to the other side, a line and draw it out, a line and draw it out. And this is to kind of help build that, it is hardwood after all. So you don't have this kind of like perfect setup going. It is still very much walked on and dirty. We've also got the problem of these curtains and their value. Let's give them just a little black outline to help them kind of stand apart. Boom. We've got a wooden desk, or not a wooden, I had wanted this to be stone, so I'm actually going to pull out Timber Wolf. Whoopie-damn-do. I'm going to come in here with that. First I'm going to draw a list. So we've got a little manifest. For these I just kind of like put a line down, do a squiggly, and then kind of help wrap it up with a couple of curves. And then I color around it. Oh, about did it with that again. Timberwolf, here we go. So now I'm going to color around this parchment. Help it stand out a little bit. Kablam. Now we got these curtains, and I thought a couple of times about what kind of curtain color he would dig. And I think I'm just going to keep it the same color that I've been noting stained glass with. So this blue-green. And I'm just going to kind of go up here and I'm going to be real light. I'm going to help form this value by just using tonality. I'm going to draw a hard line across the top with maybe some crimps. It'll get real saturated right there and right there. Same over here. I'm going to draw a line up, some crimps. Maybe right there. Bring it up, bring it up, bring it up, and bring it up. So boom, just like that, we've got our little curtains. Now what we've got to do is we've got to get back to the hardwood floor aspect. And so what you can do for this to just save a lot of time is to do alternating planks of brown. So that's, you're just going to keep it across and you're going to press harder on some spots to kind of give it off without having to go back and do that whole black routine. Again, outline the room. So boom, next layer of hardwood floor, down. Now we're going to alternate it. So I'm going to go saturate it all throughout here, ease up a little bit, saturate it all throughout there, ease it up a little bit, saturate it all throughout there, ease it up a little bit, saturate, saturate. These kind of need to go a little bit longer like their brothers, don't they? There we go. Across and saturate. Across and saturate. Kablam. Hardwood floor starts to come together without you actually having to like draw the minute details and the separations. Just has all that shit ready to go. I'm all about having that shit ready to go. I think we're listening to some Calvin Harris right now. Again, you can find all of this on Spotify, and I would really hope that you'd like to come check out the Spotify. You can find the link down there on the bottom. It talks about it. We're listening to Fuss Shit there. We got 30 minutes left, and I bet you we can knock out an almost complete portion of this. If I have to come back and do it later, I'm fine with that. But let's keep pushing it. Right, and saturate it, and saturate it, saturate it, saturate it, saturate it, saturate it. The hardwood floor continues to come together without a lot of effort being expended. Coming back to here. Going hard, going hard, going hard, going hard. Remember to alternate. I'm seeing a couple of moments where I'm wishing I was alternating a little bit better. And that'll just save me so much work in the future. Okay, so we've got almost a complete hallway of the alternating hardwood. We've got some steps right here, which let's pretend that they got a carpet drape going down. So maybe we're just gonna start with a blue line, and then a blue line, and then a blue line, and then a blue line. What we're gonna do is we're gonna bring it to a point of no saturation on both sides to help convey. They're subjected to light as well. And then on the outsides of them, we'll do this real dark brown. It's complete saturated brown. Come back in with our black. Let's build this wax up a little bit around it. Help draw that there's a difference in elevation on these. Coming off the wall. Let's get back to our actual hardwood. Saturated, 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 saturated. Very nice. Cross just like that. Make those outlines good. Alright, so we kind of forgot to put where our light may have been, but let's pretend that maybe it's hanging down from the top. So let's instead just take this yellow, get real deep with it, and bring it out here. Just bring it out. Mix that wax up. Take on that glow. Just take your fingernail, run along when you want to get that dark colored wax off of it. Kablam. Alright, then we're going to come with that orange and just kind of right where we had started to taper off at that yellow, let's come in with that orange. Let's help flesh out the rest of this with some color. Yeah, right like that. Right like that. Kablam. Going against the walls. Nothing's really left with this white. Got a good sense that there's, stuff going on in this place. Some life to it. And the black lines that I've already put down already kind of give off the play that the hardwood's down, and I kind of lost my train of thought on that one. Brain fart. Okay. So when we get to talking about this bar, what I see in my head is something that is like a more red style wood. So I think I'll pull out this kind of red right here. What is this? Oh, it's actual just regular old red. With this bar, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give the outline already a really hard saturation. This is on the inside. Get this outline real nice and good. And then on the inside, I'm just going to lightly dust. lightly dusting with it. We want that base coat to have a nice red hue. So now I'm going to come back in with the brown because it's obviously made out of wood. And I'm going to go over it. I'm going to finish saturating it. And what you want to remember is because this light is coming in from here, to get out of that first corner, only this back part is going to be absolutely saturated. And moving up, it's going to be a little bit lighter. So with the color you've already thrown down, let that happen naturally. Yeah, reinforce the outline with brown. Maybe there is just a little bit of light resonating off of it. It doesn't really have to carry on past this point. Just start going across it. Set it up. You know, who knows what this wood is? Maybe it is just some rare kind of coniferous tree. A good redwood. Leave that up to people's imaginations. If they want to ask, they can find out. Now you have this piece of wood that separates itself from its environment. Let's get back after this floorboard. Let up and saturate. Let up and saturate. Oh, I can't stand this song. Well, it's not that I can't stand it, it's just that I do not regularly like to listen to trap versions of fucking Mortal Kombat songs. So there's a time and a place. I do get in the mood. It's just not right now. Off and bring it in. Bring it off and bring it in. So bring it in right here. Now we're going to have to get this kind of hard, nice little outline on top of that. And we're going to come back in with the black and we're going to make sure that all of these areas are going to be nice and represented in terms of the lighting coming off of the room. We don't have to worry about that just yet. There you go. Just bring it in. You start to see that the map is really starting to fill up with this pleasant aura and this pleasant ambiance, and you didn't really have to do anything. To give kind of the review of what we've done, we did the whole outside. You know, we're just going right along. All the alleyways, couple of gardens, windows, watering troughs. Keep going with it. This is all done with piece of paper and Crayola crayons. Oh, and let's not forget Mr. Sharpie. Mr. Sharpie's pretty dope. Alright, so we're going to come in, let up, saturate, let up, saturate, let up, and saturate again on that line. Kind of fill in a little bit here. Come into this one, with that saturate. Saturate, 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 saturate. You have to keep going across. So again, using your shoulder is important. Don't let yourself get tired. You've got to do, you know, a lot of coverage, but a lot of it's very simple. And you don't really have to push yourself to new limits artistically. You just have to train your muscles. Running out of brand again. Running out of brown. Let's pick off some of this. Boom. Come around on these outlines and help dodge them in a little bit. Alright, so back to this. Alright, we're bleeding it in. And we're bleeding it in with that saturate. And saturate. 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 Okay. Just kind of reach our end with this. Bring it around. Saturate. 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 We've got to go all the way down to this line. You can kind of draw it out a little bit. Stay with me. I loved Random Access Memories by Daft Punk. When that came out, I was still living in Kansas City, and it was just a
Really great time to be alive and be in a place where dancing culture is still, thriving. Unlike, Arkansas, unfortunately, all the dancers in our area would have been indigenous peoples. I'm switching them. Well, I can't switch to my left hand on that one. We gotta switch people. Flipping it around. Right, just down here. I'm gonna keep up that pattern. Saturate. 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 Kablam. Pardon me. Sorry about that. All right. Now we're gonna go kablam, kablam, kablam. All right, and then when we start to get to here, we're probably actually going to see a separation for some stone. So we don't want a lot of this to catch on fire, and I just kind of now thought about that. So let's actually take it to a magical area. Let's go ahead and give a couple of squiggles here. Maybe there's some magical force field, and let's note that with a purple. Let's get these little tracer lines. Make the sound effects when you draw. It helps, honestly. You've kind of helped describe it just by figuring out a lot of these kind of moments where you're like, oh, this is a little bit different. I'm gonna need to remember to describe it like that. Those are good mnemonic devices that you can do while you're in the map drawing portion to be like, okay, yeah, I'll remember to do that. And let's be honest, there are moments where you don't really have a soundboard at your disposal and people are still relying on some sort of sound whoosh, and not a lot of people are comfortable making those noises with their mouth, and the more practice you get, the more comfortable they're going to feel, taking those kinds of creative leaps and bounds, and that's always a good thing. I'm going to draw the saturation point over to this line, and then draw it down, just like that. Alright, so less saturated and saturated. 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 Saturated. Alright, so now we've got this hardwood floor that extends across. And we'll get back to this kind of portion and we'll express that once I feel like we've got enough of the hardwood layers. In terms of this bar, you've got to fill so much, and kind of like I was pointing out early, if you are using your shoulder and your elbow, you can do it. If you use your hand, you will cramp. So, again, don't use your hand. Let your hand just be the crutch that holds the tool. It doesn't really have to be on that level of capturing the movements, and I see a lot of people do this in drawing. They get real tight posture and they go, and they'll ask why they don't have straight lines, and it's like, well, you don't really need them. You need value and tonality. And that's what this approach will help you derive out of your designs. And I feel like a lot of times a lot of people don't understand that it's that simple, so I'm here to kind of help show you. Come across, and saturate. We're going to want to carry this across, and we can just kind of see what we need to do based on what isn't done. Man, you know what I hope comes on? Night Call by Kavinsky. I haven't heard that song in a while. It is on this playlist, and I was thinking about it the other day. I might actually just play it. I think when I have the music on at this volume, it's not really an issue in terms of dealing with it, dealing with any possible copyright issues, and boy, we'll test that theory, won't we? And saturate. Oh, we need to drag this a lot further than I was dragging it, and I feel kind of stupid. These need to be pushed a lot further up too. got kind of complacent with how short those first couple were and just kind of let it drag me. But I'm back on. Yeah, we need to make them about that long, each one of these, and we can definitely do that. It's actually what's playing right now is a soundtrack from The Knick, and if you haven't seen The Knick yet, with Clive Owen on, I think it's Cinemax. It's fucking beautiful. Unfortunately, you have to buy the season. I know you can get it on Amazon, but I really wish one of the networks would pick it up in terms of Netflix or Hulu. I don't know why it hasn't been done yet. Because you can get like Black Sails, but you can't get, that shit. So, how frustrating. That kind of carries across to here. Make that saturated. 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 Yeah, just like that. Bring it across here. Okay. Let's see. Next layer.
Hi, stream. Oh, you finally got out the crayons. Crayons.
That's the Wisp, everybody. And she actually brought me these crayons.
Hi, friends.
Yeah, they only saw your hair.
Oh, I mean, that's the best part of me. Hi, friends.
I don't actually know if there's anyone watching. There was a couple people earlier.
I can't see far enough to tell it. To be
Let's
honest.
find out. No, just one right now.
That's okay.
Vin was in earlier.
Oh, Ben Yart.
Vin.
Oh. Vendrasi. Also exciting. Equally exciting. I just see Vendrasi on a much more regular basis than I see Ben Yart now.
Alright. So just laying out the yawning portal.
It's 11:16.
14 minutes remaining. How far can we get? There's a new Getting Dug that came out today.
Nice.
If you would be down to watch a portion of it, I doubt you can
No, I
watch
need to go to
everything.
bed. I have work in the morning.
Well, fine.
What?
I said, well, fine.
Listen, we can watch it tomorrow. After you get done at your thing.
Alright, and bringing it across here, I'm of course talking about Getting Dug with Hi, fellow creator of things. Fortunately, he does not do Twitch yet. YouTube keeps up their shit like they're doing. We'll cross that threshold.
Hey, stream, do you want to know a fun fact before I go to bed? Cool, I'm going to tell you anyway. When they first named bees under the naming, whatever you call it, not the compulsion, whatever. When they first started naming things with Latin names and stuff, that's really all that's really important. The guy who got to name them named them Apis melliflua, which is bee in Latin is apis, and then melliflua means honey carrying in Greek. And then when he realized that they didn't actually carry the honey around and that they carried the nectar and made the honey, he petitioned to try to get it changed to Apis mellifica, which is honey maker, bee honey making. There you go. It didn't work, so that's still melliflua. But there you go.
Since we're talking about Latin,
Hi, honey.
beehives are called, or people who host beehives, they're called apiaries.
Yeah.
And that's why. And we have a couple of cities that tried to become designated apiaries here in Arkansas, but the only one that I know of is Eureka Springs. So, thanks for keeping the dream alive, Eureka.
What do you want to know from me?
Oh, she just came in here and started saying that stuff. I didn't ask her anything.
No, ask me something.
I don't have a question, unfortunately.
And that's not fun.
I didn't tell her to come in here and say anything.
Shut up. Where did you find this?
In North Coast back.
What is it?
It's freshwater pro.
It's coming through and adding a red outline to these tables. Because we're going to kind of treat it like we did the bar. So we've got these base coats down, and then once we put the saturated brown over the top, it'll take on a whole different appearance with that hue. And I kind of worked myself into a corner with this brown crayon, and as much as I hate to admit it, we're going to have to use Mr. Crayola sharpener. I didn't follow my own advice. Boy. Yeah, it's not as effective as I would hope, but it does give you, you know, kind of a round again, a little bit of a point. I'll take it. So I'm going to come in here, get this brown applied. Just like that. Come in here, I'm going to get this brown applied. So one thing that I had noticed from the first time I ran through is I had described that there were curios and stuff in here, but I didn't really make any places for those curios to be. And I think that's what we'll do over here. So again, to kind of do a review of the map, we're placing down the hardwood. We've got the outside of the yawning portal done. Moving across. Flip it around a little bit. You can kind of see what's going down. This is where we started with the entrance. This is the original orientation. We kind of started from here, and then we started to work on the actual yawning portal. And we can get more detail, we can get more enveloped in it, but until then I recommend that you guys do a couple of things. One, I want to keep doing this, and I want to keep making stuff. I've been doing this for a long time, just on my own dime, but it does get taxing. I'd like for it to be a little bit more, and so there's a donate button on my page, and it's linked to my PayPal. And if you liked watching and you like seeing how to do these maps and do them along with me, click that donate. I'm going to get a Patreon going soon too, and so I'll be able to help supplement, but for right now this is kind of my phase one. But this is the Yawning Portal from Tales from the Yawning Portal, and it's based off of a picture I found online of a map that had already been released, and I've been refining it. Xanatar is here as well. He's my knitted Xanatar. But anyway, finish the night. Having to check your own monitor and see if you're in focus and see if you're in frame. Yeah, this was all really dope. I want to keep doing it, and I want to keep providing this stuff for you and my players. If you want to check out some more stuff, go check out facebook.com/Ruins of Adventure. That's where we're going to be posting the new live D&D group that this is all for. And as well as make sure to follow my pages. I do other things than this. I play Fortnite, I play Battlefront, I play some shit, and it's a good time. Ordinarily, or at least what I'd like to do, is like to make this the comment portion of the segment, the closing 10 minutes, but since there isn't anyone here, let's eat this Reese's Nutrageous. Looks like a turd. Bask in the satisfaction. Let's see if anybody responded on Instagram, shall we? Looks like people at least gave it a view. Sometimes all you can ask for. I'll have to fine tune just how to get people over here and how to get what people over here. I think that'd be really dope. I've seen some other guys stream and they've been able to get a good art crowd going, and maybe I should just shoot him a message, figure it out. Where are all the art people at? Come watch the shit. It's good shit. But anyway, you can see all the shit to follow below. Hope you had fun. I'm gonna have to keep doing the Yawning Portal, and so maybe we'll pick back up probably before next week. I may supplement one of the battlefield days with it since I'm training with a platoon now. I don't need to play it as much. But yeah, we'll pick up and we'll finish it. Anyway, appreciate you guys coming out. And I'll kind of close you. Well, I don't have anything to close you out with, but I'll figure something out soon. And until then, peace out.